So, hello and welcome. Today we're going to do a trip on the Northern Trans-Pennine route from Leeds to Huddersfield, all stops, driving a Class 101, which we know everybody loves, even though they are not the easiest trains to drive. So, today we're going to be going from Leeds, Morley, Batley, Dewsbury, Ravensthorpe, Murfield, Dayton, and Huddersfield, where the train terminates. So let's get started. So we're in the cab of the Class 101. So the first thing to do is to put the circuit control key on. We'll check the doors are on the left, so we can open those, and we start loading passengers. Let's turn some marker lights on. One here. And one there. Put the instrument lights on, although I don't really need them, it's the middle of the day. There is an AWS down there, but I don't think there's any AWS on this route, so a little pointless. Let's put the reverse into forward. So we'll lock the doors. Okay, so we're going to leave the station and off we go. It's actually, so as we know, on the Class 101s, it's a gear. Oh, I'm going to go too fast. Gears, manual gear operation, which is pretty unusual in all the trains on train sim world. I don't think there are any others that I can think of that use gears, which is another level of complexity when you're driving. So we're leaving Leeds Station, somewhere that I kind of know quite well. Been there lots of times. Bit of information. It's the fourth busiest station in the UK, apparently, outside of London. Northern, LNER, and Trans-Pennine Express all operate out there, I believe. It's been rebuilt quite a few times over the years, and it was actually originally two separate stations that were merged in 1938. I think it was New Street and Wellington. I think Wellington Street, perhaps. But it's a very busy station. It's not the prettiest station in the world, but it's very useful for getting about across Yorkshire. Okay, so we're trundling along. Let's have a look outside. So this is, again, I believe, all set in the 1980s in and around Leeds and Yorkshire. Bit of post-industrial decline going on, but not in the same way as it is on the Tees Valley line. Leeds has been rebuilt quite extensively over the years. Okay, I'll just give it a little bit of juice. Oh, don't go over speed. It's very easy when you're doing 10 miles an hour. So I believe our first stop is Morley. Just check. Yeah, it is. Oh, it says up there, of course it does. So we've got 3 miles, not 10 miles an hour, I hope. So a bit about the Class 101 DMU. So these were built, I think, between 1956 and 59 by Metro Camel in Birmingham, as part of British Rail's plan to modernise, get rid of steam engines, and hopefully make sort of rural lines more viable by reducing costs. And so this is what came out of that, and they were pretty successful. They were in use until 2003 when the last ones were taken out of service, so they were good 40 odd years old, apparently, those particular ones, 47 years old, I believe. Okay, we can pick up a bit more speed now. I'll put it into third and get up to there. Quick look outside while we're going along slowly. It's quite a busy set of junctions here, so we can get up to 20. Actually, what we'll do is bring it speed down and then put it to 4. So the gears are one complexity on this particular unit. The other thing is the brakes, which are not self-lapping, so you have to fiddle around to get the brakes to stick where you want to. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. But I don't claim to have got the hang of it, so there's a good chance I'll have ended up stopping early or going past the stop car markers. But that's an occupational hazard of driving these, I think. So we're up into a 60 at the moment, or that drops back down to 50 before we get to Morley. Let's have a look around the cab. It's fairly basic. So we've got two cars on this, both engines on the cars are running. I can't tell you much about the engines, I'll probably have to have a look. But needless to say, they're pretty basic trains. I think if you look on YouTube, there are some videos from some of these first generation DMUs that were produced by British Rail, and for staff, how to drive them, how to couple them, and all these sorts of things. Very, very interesting. If you're into that sort of thing, like I am, railway history. And of course, looking behind, I didn't know this. It's a bit disappointing. These blinds don't come down because I wouldn't really want people staring at me as I was driving from behind. Although if I was a passenger, I would wanted to look out the front window as you're going along, much like you can on the DLR in London. Okay, so we're moving up to 60. It's not the fast accelerating train in the world, but doesn't really need to be. It's not designed for that purpose. Its top speed is 70 miles an hour, I believe. It normally says up there somewhere, but if anybody knows where it is, so shut off power. Oh, actually, we're going up a little bit with a gradient now, so we've got about a mile before the speed drops to 50. So I'll let it drop down by itself at some point, rather than braking unnecessarily. I don't know this route particularly well. I know there's a couple of places where the speeds change quite quickly, so you've got to be on your toes. And probably route knowledge is a good thing to have. As I say, there's no AWS on this route. You know, the 101 does have it fitted, which is a bit of a shame. I'm sure it's correct. I'm sure Dovetail did their work on it. Okay, so we've got a single yellow. So we probably ought to put the brakes on a little bit. So put the brakes on and get it to the point where we're slowing down enough, and then we just put it back to lap, and that keeps it on that pressure. And you can see by the gauge down the bottom, by the HUD, it's on about 11.9. I don't know why I've got a yellow. We might find out. We can whiz around the corner, and I've released the brakes now. There's a red signal. Which is, I can't see anything. I've got no brakes on, but down to a 50. I'm coming towards, and the speed goes back up to 60, so we've not got another speed restriction coming up. I cannot see a red signal. Gonna put some. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put it down to 3 and get up the hill. So we've got a minute to get into the station. I think the signal might actually be at the end of the station, thinking about it, so it could be the start signal at Morley. This is where route knowledge is really useful. Okay, let's go about that this way. For the glorious Yorkshire countryside. For those who haven't been there, I highly recommend it. It's lovely. I have relatives who live in that way, and I do enjoy going up there. So we're a few hundred yards away now from Morley. Should probably put on the brakes a little bit. This is a tricky bit, just trying to get the brakes so you don't end up slowing down too quickly. I've taken them off again now because we're late already. Let's give it a bit of welly into the station. Hopefully we'll be a bit on time for the next one. There's the signal box for Morley on the right hand side. Long gone, I'd imagine. Like most signal boxes on these routes. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling they probably have. Yeah, that's saying as the signal's red with that banner repeater there. So. Yeah, that'll do. Not worried about the. So I put it back into one. We'll release the brakes a bit. Okay, shut the doors and we're off. There we go. And change down. That's one of the good reasons for keeping your lights, setting the instrument lights on. Go down and then 1, 2, 3. There we go. Probably a slightly higher gear than we need to for this, but it doesn't matter. Main thing to remember is that the in between this yellow is what you want to keep the needle in. Once it goes outside this end, it's time to, you can't change gear until it's dropped below the yellow, and you want to stop when it gets to the top of it. So back up to 4. So Batley's our next stop. I should say about Morley, apparently I did a bit of what's famous about Morley. Well, apparently its textile industry was famous there. Some cloth which used to be called shoddy, which apparently is like recycled woolen rags and made into blankets, and apparently these were sold to the both sides of the American Civil War back in the past. So there you go, that's what you know about Morley. A lot of these stations served mill towns, textiles being the big export producer. Well, not just export, but internal and external. So we've got a 60 limit on this section track. I don't think it goes over this. There's any real problem for us with a top speed of 70. 60 is just fine. I'm going downhill a little bit now, so we'll take the power off. Tunnels are boring when you're driving trains. You can't really see anything. And the lights make very little difference, even with a new train. Lights only, you don't really show much what's going on, and especially these long tunnels. We've got a 50 restriction in it's after Batley station, so. And we're out the other side. Let's get a bit of a view again. It's not a lot of other traffic on this line. I'm assuming it represents a timetable at that time, but I'm not sure. We might have to put the brake on a little bit because we're just picking up a bit of speed and we'll be getting to the station shortly. So let's bring it down. Okay, we'll give it a bit more because I'm not slowing down as quickly as I want. So release it a little bit. Release it all now. Roll into the station. Oh dear, I'm going to stop short again, I feel. Oh no, we'll get a little bit further. Takes to gravity, thank you very much. We'll get to the station. We'll put that here. That'll do. So what about Batley? Well, apparently it's another textile town. It was a textile town. Again, made this stuff called shoddy. I wonder if that's probably the origin of the word we use now to denote things of poor quality. Apparently Foxes, who make the biscuits, are very famous here as well, so that's something else. Okay, so we can back the one, release the brakes, and off we go. So next stop's Dewsbury in about a mile or so. Let's get some speed up. Let's sit down. The only way to master these brakes on this train is to play it over and over again. And it all comes down. I'm sure it's easier in real life. We've got some AI traffic coming the other way. Give her a toot. If we can't wave to them, we might as well give them 2. I think we'll put it in 4 when you're idling. There's little point in speeding up anymore now. We're up to a 50 limit anyway, and Dewsbury is we're about half a mile away at the moment. We'll give it a little bit of brake. So when it goes back to lap, I've obviously not teach anybody to suck eggs here, but if you don't know, putting it back to lap just holds the brake in that position, so it applies the same amount of force. Releasing it just gently eases off. Okay, we're coming in. Let's do a bit more. Slightly better approach this time. Okay, that was better. So Dewsbury, again, I didn't find much about Dewsbury, so I apologise to anybody who lives there. I think it was, again, another textile. Apparently has the largest open market in West Yorkshire, according to my guide. Let's put this back into 1, otherwise I won't be able to pull away very easily. Okay, going to close the doors, release the brakes, and we're off. It's away from sunny Dewsbury, and it is sunny today. And at the time of this video I'm making, it is a gloriously sunny day and very hot. So Ravensthorpe is in 1.3 miles. Let's get some speed up. We're going to be going over a viaduct here. Quite a small one. There's some semaphore signals. I know we've got a single yellow here again. Probably, I'm going to guess this is the signal protecting. Oh, it's a double yellow. I'm going to guess it's a signal protecting, one of the signals protecting Ravensthorpe. Let's put it forward to get a little bit of speed up for the last bit. We can shut off and coast into the station. There's possibly one more signal then before the station, if that's the case, maybe. It's strange you have 4 aspect signalling on one side and the other side it's semaphores. Quite unusual, I'd say. Power station, cooling tower there on our right. The viaduct, I should probably tell you what that is, but I don't know what it is. Power station, probably somewhere, another line down there as well. Oh, actually, Ravensthorpe, it still works there actually. I think I better put the brakes on because we are going to get single yellow there, so this signal protects it, so this will be the red signal will be at the end of the platform. Okay, roll into the station. Try not to spad it because that'll be embarrassing and annoying at the same time. Okay, open the doors, put it back into 1. So Ravensthorpe, yeah, I have a feeling that somebody who probably knows better than I, there's either a power station or a steelworks or something like that there. Or was, maybe. Apologies, say, for anybody who's from this area, for my ignorance. Yeah, as you can see on the station, it sort of shows some of that industrial decline that was around in the sort of 1980s. looking at the station here, it's all kind of derelict. Quite atmospheric, and it's not untypical of what was happening during that time, where a lot of the old industries in the UK were dying essentially, and we were losing to other countries. And change it down. Wait for it to. Places were shutting and people were losing their jobs. Right, we can get some speed up now. So our next station is Mirfield, in just over, well, just about a mile and a half. Okay, let it run down. Unusual signal gantry there. Up into 3, off we go. And looking at the revs there, we can see. I quite like to do this huddlers, but my TV is quite a long way from where I'm sitting, so it's actually quite difficult to see the speedos otherwise. But if you're new to Train Sim World, or not new, but don't play it without the safety systems on, I would really strongly suggest that you give it a go, because it is the way to play the game as a simulator. Is put the AWS on, put the vigilance on if you want to, and they'll help you. Certainly AWS on some of these will make life a little bit easier for you, because you'll know what the next signal coming up should be, just based on the sunflower, which obviously we don't have on here. It should be there, which isn't working because there's no AWS. But it doesn't gives you. It's more realistic, obviously in real life. That's what you'd have, although not on this line at this time, obviously. And just a bit more challenge, really. And obviously, once you've got the route master, then it's turn the HUD off. And with the upcoming Train Sim World 4, we'll be able to have a mini HUD, which will just be up in the top left-hand corner, which is what I'd be quite interested in. So let's put some brake on there. We're coming towards the station. Oh, not that much, probably. Okay. Right, so coming into Mirfield now. So release the brake. I think we don't need it on to come into this little bit. This place doesn't even seem to have any platform buildings at all. It's probably not a very pleasant experience on a windy, wet day in West Yorkshire. Oh, nearly overshot it now. There we go. Okay, it's the right hand side doors on this one. Mirfield apparently is associated with apparently the Bronte sisters, the Luddites, Robin Hood, and also was a home of Patrick Stewart, who those of you who watch Star Trek will know that he started Next Generation, amongst many other things, of course. And I think including an advert for Yorkshire Tea fairly recently. Right, okay, release the brakes and we'll go. Going uphill a bit now, so let's give it a bit of welly. Those old diesel engines going. There's our loco hood set just going the other way there. Okay, and put it up into 2. So Dayton is our next stop. Is our penultimate stop actually. I didn't have any notes for what happened at Dayton, so I'm assuming it's just one of those places that very small and not an awful lot happens there, or happened. Right, get up to speed. I'm a bit behind again. Okay, we're up to 4. .50-mile-an-hour limit coming up. We're going right. So that junction. It goes to a 70, which is the fastest. So now we're branched off, so we must be, yeah, so we're coming down here now towards, oh, it's got a service coming the other way. Looks like it's maybe a loco hauled one. And repeater, so our signal's off, which is good. No surprises at the next signal. Green. Not sure what coaches all those would have been on there, Mark 2s or Mark 3s. I'm not an expert on these things, I have to say. All I do know about those coaches, having travelled in my youth and when I was a bit older, the seats are a lot more comfortable than virtually any train that is running around today, apart from perhaps the HSTs and stuff like that. They're using the local, those coaches, local coaches, but most multiple units. The seats are, in my opinion, quite uncomfortable for anything more than a very short journey. Okay, so we're a bit behind here. There's no point to go up to 70 because we've only got a few hundred yards to go. Apply a little bit of brake in a second. We are going uphill, so we don't really need an awful lot. Actually, thinking about it, we'll get a bit closer. We will lose a few miles an hour before we get there. Double yellow. Okay. I'm a bit short here. Let's see if we take out the platform a little tiny bit. I know we're going to lose up a few seconds here, but we don't need carriages hanging off the end. Oh, there's a passenger. A rare treat indeed on this line. That will do. So Dayton, here we are. There's our one passenger. Not much to see here. A little hut, which again wouldn't be very pleasant if you were in here in the middle of winter waiting for your train, which don't seem to come along that frequently. You need to plan it quite well then. And it wasn't uncommon for services to be cancelled, much like they are today. So yeah, not a nice place to be stuck out if you're. Oh, let's bring it down. That's it. Always put it into 1. That will help. So the next stop is Huddersfield, which is just under 2 miles. So what we know about Huddersfield before we get there? Well, I have been to Huddersfield, but not the station. But I guess the locals would say their rugby league team, the Huddersfield Giants, is probably something they're very proud of. If you follow rugby league, of course. And apparently there's lots of different festivals, food and drinks and stuff like that. And I'm more a big fan of food and drink festivals. So double yellow, got a 40-mile-an-hour speed restriction just before we get into the station. Probably should go down a gear for here, but I'm climbing a hill at the moment. Okay, we've got a 40-mile-an-hour coming up. I don't know if it goes out, if we peak and go back down the other side, or whether it's this climb all the way into the station. I'm not sure. I think it might be a climb. I think the other side of Huddersfield is where you descend again. Let's look out the side. Again, I think this is one of those routes which would be lovely if it were updated. So that's the single yellow. That will be the signal protecting Huddersfield, I think. If not, we're going to come around a red around the corner very shortly, and it's going to be brakes on. Right, put some brakes on. Miles an hour, better slow down a bit. Particularly going uphill, we don't need to worry about too much about overspeed. We'll bring it down a bit just in case we need a bit of oomph getting into the station. And here we are, Huddersfield Station, a very beautiful station, I believe. I've not seen the outside of it, but it's got a was opened in 1847, I believe, and was designed by James Pritchett, I think. Sort of neo-classical facade on it. Supposed to be, well, lots of people have said it's a very beautiful station, one of the best in the UK. So, come on, down to the end. Without running into the buffer stops. Okay, we'll unlock the doors. Here in Huddersfield. Lock the doors. How did we do? Not too bad, and weren't too far off timings as well. We got a goal. Anyway, that's the end of that journey. Thanks for watching this little video, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye now.